Hello, you fabulous Fujoshi and fantastic Fudanshi, and to the rest of you, behave yourselves. Welcome back to our weekly... I know I missed last week, and I'm sorry. Welcome back to our weekly Kaguya-sama Season 3 discussion video. Rather, I should say Kaguya Ultra Romantic discussion videos. Today we're going to be talking about this episode that drove me absolutely insane in the best possible way. But before we get into that, let's see if we can't get this video to 100 likes. Let's see if we can't get to 100 likes, shall we? So, with that said, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it because I just got a lot of feelings on my chest. I got a lot of emotions in my heart that I need to let out, and I am going to tell you, first of all, behold the new setup. I think it looks pretty snazzy. And we get this little moment where Kaguya just kind of out and out says that she is into Shirogane. Just straight up says it. I have no words other than pure shock. I mean, I guess I have some words. I am JoJo. Talks too much. Well, I'm Mr. Underhill to you and JoJo to friends. But yes, I have some words to say. Choice words, in fact. Finally... How many episodes in are we total? I don't mean like, I don't just mean like this season. I mean like in total. I believe we're on episode 8 of the season, but like in total, how many episodes? Because like, it feels surreal to finally be here, like to be at this moment, this crossroads for these characters. They are finally at a place where they are going to confess. It's happening. I don't know what to say. Like, the next episode is called, like, the Cultural Festival and Dual Confessions arc. And it's happening. I had tears in my eyes this week. Not, like, I wasn't, like, crying, right? But I had, like, the feeling of, like, look at these characters. Look at these characters who we've watched, like, grow and evolve, you know? Like, look at the squad. Look at the squad. They're finally gonna do it. They've worked up the courage. They've grown. They've matured. They're finally at this place where they're ready to confess, you know. And it's like, yes, right. And it's so funny because this is a comedy series. That's the thing that I think we forget sometimes is that Kaguya is a comedy series, right? And yet it hits with the weight of a megaton truck because it's just like it feels like Truck-kun just showed up and was like, guess who's going to Isekai Land? Right to the heart. Because it gets what makes these characters so fun. It gets what makes them so relatable. It friggin' just nails it, man. I'm just so happy, so impressed with the way that they've handled the characters so far. It feels like appropriate. Like now feels like the time. Now it's interesting, right? Because it's not just a Kaguya thing. This is like a thing across the board. We have two characters. It's called dual confessions, right? Now, the dual confession could mean Shirogane and Kaguya both want to confess to each other. Because at the same time, we have to keep in mind that both characters are planning to confess at the festival. Like, this festival arc, this is the time. If it was ever going to happen, it's right now, right? Like, this is the time. However, it's not just them. It's my boy Shirogane finally going like, wait, Tsubame and... the cheer captain aren't together. By the way, the cheer captain's with friggin' Ino's friend, Koba. Blew my mind. I did not see that coming at all. That was a huge shock. That was awesome, though. I loved it. But, like, because it was really funny, it made me laugh, but it was also kind of cute, because I was like, yeah, those two, yeah, you know what? That's fun. I like that. But, beside the point. Tsubame is now, like, Ishigami knows that Tsubame is, technically speaking, single. So he could ask her, right? So he's like, I'm going to ask her to go to the cultural festival with me. If there was ever the time, my boy, my sweet bean, it is now. And I loved, by the way, the scene of Kaguya being there with Shirogane to tell him, like, you should do it, right? Because it was like she was trying to tell herself just as much as him. Like, to be like, you should go for it, do it. Because it was like she's trying to reassure herself, you know, that it's like, no, like, you should do it because, like you can't doubt yourself. Now, on one hand, I do love it because, like, Kaguya's really been there in a big way for Ishigami the last little bit. It's nice seeing these two, like, actually kind of encourage each other, right? Like, I mean, Ishigami's not aware that he might be encouraging Kaguya, but Kaguya, like, encouraging Ishigami's also giving herself the courage to actually just go out and do it, which, like, you love to see it. it's nice to see just how these two characters are like building each other up. They're getting ready, right? I don't know what's gonna happen though. Again, I do feel like Ino is probably a better fit for Ishigami. Tsubame, I think, is great. I really like her a lot. As Ishigami says, though, like, Ishigami's also running on... I think Ishigami has a bit more of a... Like, both relationships have a timer on them in terms of, like, you better ask before this thing happens, otherwise you won't get the chance, right? But I think, like, both relationships have, like, a timer, but Ishigami's is much more strict, right? Because, like, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Kaguya and Shirogane are, I believe, second years, and Tsubame is a third year, and then Ishigami, Ino, and Koba are first years. I could be wrong. And Chika is also a second year, I believe. I believe that's right. I could be incorrect, but I think that's true. So if that is the case, and I am right, which I might not be, but if I am right, that means that Ishigami has a much bigger time limit on his, right? If he doesn't ask her before the year's up, he doesn't get an extra year to try to ask like Kaguya gets. Like Kaguya, because Shirogane is leaving to go overseas for school, right? So she has another year before that dude's gone, right? Ishigami's got like however long they have left in the school year, like maybe like a few months. Like he has a lot less time. And like they said, you got that cultural festival magic, right? The festival magic can guide you. Because again, they talk about the Shuichin, I forget the name of the school. It's Shuichin or Shuin, I forget. The school has this like festival because this was the place where this like heart thing happened. It's a folklore. It's about this story. So if you give a heart-shaped thing during the cultural festival to somebody else, you could theoretically, you could set up like a eternal love, right? Like Tsubame mentions that her brother had the same thing happen to him, and now he's getting married to that person. You know, so it's like, so of course this sends Kaguya into a frenzy, and she like wants to get to that point, right? Like she wants to, you know, hand our boy Shirogane something heart-shaped so that they can cement their eternal love. But it's the same thing with Ishigami, right? It's like, if you guys do this, it might go well. Now, I feel bad for Ino and Chika because they're kind of on the outs in this situation, but that is okay. Chika was just handing out heart-shaped things to random people, so maybe Chika will be eternally loved in the hearts of many, many, many people. So there's that. But yeah, so that's like the goal, right? That's the thing. Now, Shirogane probably not quite thinking on the same terms. I don't think he's very as in tune with what's going on in the festival. But Shirogane has a lot going on this week that I find interesting. I find like one thing that I found kind of interesting. I wish there was a shot of the two of them, these two things together, Shirogane and the moon, because I don't know if anybody else caught this. But the moon was like ever present this week. It felt like wherever the characters looked, or not wherever the characters, but mostly Shirogane, like wherever he was looking, you would see like the moon nearby. It would be like constant, and it would be huge, right? This huge moon in the sky, sort of like almost following Shirogane, right? Which the reason why I find that interesting is because again, like Kaguya, there's like Kaguya-sama, right? Like, as in, like, the moon, like, the myth of Kaguya, like, the moon princess, right? So I find it interesting that they talk about the moon a lot this week. They don't really, like, not specifically the moon, but there's references to the moon a lot, right? Shirogane's dad, friggin' Dio, Koyasu, gives him a moon watch. And it shows Shirogane's dad, like, reaching up for the moon, right? And he says that, like, this should be for somebody who's reaching out to the moon, right? That's Shirogane. He's reaching out to the moon. He's reaching out to Kaguya, right? Like, he's reaching out for the moon. That's what the watch represents. It's like giving... It's very symbolic of the dad being like, go for it, right? Like, obviously they don't really know that. This is subtext, but like, again, subtext is the best kind of text. It's so much fun to read into things. Sometimes I know I read a little too far into things, especially when I get into shippy mode, but look, sometimes I'm right, right? And like the subtext is very intense this week with the moon watch, the moon being so big in the sky, like, yes, you could say like artistic liberties, but the reason why you would take artistic liberties in this case is to say something about the characters. he's constantly being followed by the moon. Shirogane, like, is, like, the moon hangs so big in the sky. The moon is such a big part of his life in that moment, right? Kaguya. Kaguya, I almost called her the Kaguya. Kaguya is the biggest thing in his life. The moon being so big in the sky, that's because Kaguya is so big in Shirogane's life, right? Like, I love that! Visual storytelling, it's great! Also, Kay was in this episode, and she was fun. I don't really have a lot to say about Kay. I know everybody likes Kay. Kay can sometimes get on my nerves. I did think it was cute how she was all excited when Shirogane showed up, but had to keep playing, like, little sister, like, get out of here, don't bother me, right? So he's like, all right, geez, right? But secretly, she was, like, very proud. It was very sweet, but I don't really have a lot to say. I'm not a really big Kay guy. Like, I don't really hate Kay or anything. It's just, I'm more concerned about Kaguya, Shirogane, Ishigami, and Tsubame right now. Like, that's kind of where my attention is. So I didn't really have as much interest in and focus on Kay, right? Because right now my head's still reeling, right? Now, mind you, I did message my partner going like, "Oh my god, it's gonna happen! It's gonna happen!" And then the end of the episode happened, and I was like, "Oh my god, never mind," right? Because I thought it was gonna be this week, but it could be next week or the week after. It kind of depends on how long the cultural festival arc is. Manga fans, okay. I'm gonna give everybody a fair warning here. Manga fans, I am giving you a challenge, which is to tell us how long you think the arc is gonna go. Whether it's an episode, 2 episodes, the rest of the season, which if we're on episode 8, that would be 4 more episodes. Is it 3 episodes? 4, 2, 1? Let me know, because I feel like letting us know how long the arc is not necessarily a spoiler. And I would be curious. Maybe this is how we'll do it. Tell me, but put space. Like how you do like the read more, where you just put a bunch of enters and then you say it. So like if anybody doesn't want to know while they're perusing the comments, just make sure that there's a read more over how long, because I am curious to know, because I don't feel like that's a really big spoiler. So I would like to know how long this arc is, because it doesn't tell us how the arc ends. It is called Dual Confession, but it's Kaguya. For all we know, they could misunderstand the confession. So I want to know how long this arc is, because it feels they made a big deal out of it. So either something big is going to happen, or it's just going to take up the rest of the season. Either way, I am very excited. I was so shocked. This episode got me like really emotional in a good way, because it's like, man, it feels like we're reaching like a turning point in the series. It feels like the series is starting to change. It feels like characters are actually starting to get into relationships. And what I love is that that's not the end of the show. Is that, to my knowledge, there's a lot of manga left. Again, manga fans, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's probably a lot of manga left, judging by the fact that the series is still ongoing. There's still stuff to do, and I like that the series isn't just like ending because it seems like the characters are starting to get to a place where characters might start dating. It's not over. Like, Kaguya confessed her feelings to Hayasaka, right? And that's still a huge, huge turning point for Kaguya's character. Like, that's a big deal, right? But the fact that she's like actively saying it, and we're getting to this point where like a confession's gonna happen, and yet there's still show left, it shows me that we're actually gonna see them be a couple. And like I said, I think there's a lot of interesting things you can do there. I think that it would have been a miss if the show the series just ended with the characters getting together. I feel like that would have been a missed opportunity to tell more, to have more comedy, to have more scenes where these characters are like the funny, like I think we're getting to a point where we started to exhaust the whole like will they, won't they, right? Like we know they're gonna, so now we just want to see them get together, and it's like the mangaka knows, right? So it's like, I know this, and I know that I'm starting to run out, not run out of ideas, but I'm starting to get to the point where I might be tiring you guys out. So the way you could change it up, have them get together and tell new wacky stories of like new misunderstandings, new territory, like new things, right? Like I think that Kaguya is in a direction that I'm like, yes, like I'm really liking where the direction that the show is going, and I think it's just so clever for going in this direction. So like I'm just so happy, right? And I've seen some people be like, first time, bruh, you think I haven't been watching like shoujo and shonen romance for a long time? I've been watching shoujo and shonen romance for a long time. Look me in the eyes and tell me that Kaguya is not radically different to all of them. The reason why Kaguya is so different is because it's a non-battle battle shonen about confessing your feelings. That is radically different to everything else. And that is why we love Kaguya, because it's a non-battle, battle shonen about two people who just can't say I love you. That's what makes it fun. So before anybody gets like, oh, you haven't seen a lot of romance. Yes, I have. So I just want to stress that I think this is such a great direction for the show to go in. I'm so excited to see where it goes. Yeah, that's it though. That's all my thoughts. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Anyway, outro. And that's going to do it for today's video, everybody. So we hope you all enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to boop that up snoot. Share the video around. And of course, I have to give a big thank you to our lovely patrons. Look at these beautiful people. All these people who help keep this channel afloat. I sincerely appreciate it. And of course, I have to give a big thank you to Asaki VT, Elizabeth Just Elizabeth, Jeremy P, Matt87 Eagle, Shadow Creative, Shiorans, Stephen G, Stevie W, Trapmaster, Trevor W, and Tristan G. Thank you all once again so much for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon or here on YouTube just by watching the videos. I sincerely appreciate it. Be good, and we will see you next time.